Hi year one. Okay, we're going to be carrying on our geography from yesterday where we're looking at physical features of landscapes. Okay, so what is a physical feature? I want you just to have a little think and try and remember what a physical feature is. What is a physical feature? Think of some examples or definition. A physical feature is anything that would still be there if there were no people. So all these pictures here are all things that are naturally occurring. Nobody has made these. Nobody's gone out with a hammer and a chisel and created these or built these. These are naturally occurring by nature and people have nothing to do with them. And that is what a physical feature is. It is something naturally occurring. People have not made them. Okay, so we're just going to watch a little video here, see what physical features we can pick out from what we were doing yesterday. Okay, so let's just have a look at this video so we can pick out. So here I can see lots and lots of rounded higher areas. Those are hills. Here I can see some cliffs because they're very steep, very high cliffs. More hills over here. I can see all these rounded areas that are higher than the ground below them. These are all hills. Wow, here we've got some more cliffs that are going into the sea. They've got those white cliffs there. More cliffs going into the sea, really steep. You could not walk down them. Couldn't walk down, we could climb up them, they're so steep. Lots and lots of hills here we can see. Lots of trees. Oh, here's quite a lot of trees. That's like a forest. Some more forest area here, some hills. All over here. Forest and hills. What else can we see? Ooh, just pausing. Okay, we see lots and lots of forest here, some more hills going on. What else can we see? Talk about what things you can see. So I've seen lots of forests, some cliffs, some hills, more hills here. Oh, look at this forest, all these trees here. Makes up one really big forest. Huge forest here going over a hill. Hill is a raised, rounded area of land. So we've got lots and lots of forest here surrounded by some water. But it's not the coast, it's not going out to the ocean. It's just forest and hills. Let's see if we can see some more coast. Oh, here's the coast. See here the sea. Let's just pause and look at this. Got all the sea here. And round here, this is all the coast. All of this is the coast. It's where the land ends and the sea begins. And in this coast, I can see a bit of beach down here. See some beach. I can see some cliffs. These are really tall, high cliffs. I can see the sea coming in. I can see the waves on the sea. I can see lots of grass. I can see that it's a bit of a hill on the land. Lots and lots of physical features here. Some more coast. You can see that beach there. You can see those cliffs over here. Lots and lots going on. Okay, year one. So in that video, we saw lots and lots of different key physical features. I want to talk about what features we talked about yesterday and what we saw in that video. Did we see any cliffs in that video? So cliffs are really steep, really tall areas of land and rock. You can't walk off them, you can't walk down them. They're super, super steep, super high. Did we see some cliffs? Yes, I know we saw some cliffs. Did we see any hills? The hills are raised, rounded areas. Did we see any hills? Yes, we saw some hills. Did we see any caves? Caves are holes in the side of hills or cliffs or in the earth in general. That is hills. Oh, it started playing again. Fantastic. We saw some coastlines, didn't we? So we know the coast is anywhere the land ends and the sea meets, and it can include beaches and cliffs, the sea, the waves. All of that is the coast. We did see some coastal areas. We saw some sea. We definitely saw the sea. We saw lots and lots of forest, didn't we? So forests are really dense, are really compacted. Lots and lots of trees. And we saw some beaches, didn't we? We saw some nice sandy beaches along those coastlines. Fantastic. Okay. So those are our key features from yesterday. Today we're going to be looking at a couple of places, and one of them is a place called Eyam. So Eyam is not far from Sheffield. So this is a map of England or Great Britain. So up here's Scotland and Wales and Ireland, and we, Sheffield, are right in the middle here. And Eyam is just here. So compared to the whole of England and Great Britain, Eyam is quite close to Sheffield. So this is Eyam. And this is Sheffield. And let's just have a look at these two pictures and what can we spot that is different? Have a little think, have a little look. Well, I can see that in Eyam, there is a lot more natural areas. So I can see a lot more fields, a lot more trees, whereas in Sheffield I can see a lot more houses, which is not natural features. So there's a lot more natural features in Eyam than there is in Sheffield. I can see lots of grass, lots of trees. I can see some hills. So let's watch this video of Eyam and see what natural features we can spot. Okay, so this is Eyam and its surrounding areas. So let's have a look what we can see. Well, I can see hills up here. We can see there the land is going upwards into a rounded area. So that's a nice big hill. See lots of trees over here. So over here there's lots of woodland and forest areas. So this is the village, but we're not really bothered about the human features. These are all things that have been made by people, have been built. They're not what we're looking at. We are looking at the natural features. So we can see some trees and lots of grass. We can see, let's just zoom out a little bit. We can see all the trees over here. So over here is another forest. We can see, what else can we see? We can see some hills in the background. What else can we see? Oh, here we go. So you can see all these hills down here. Almost look like a bit of a cliff there as well. Let's go back. So you can see a little bit of the cliff. It's covered in snow. It's very steep and it's dropping down and it's very high into the forest. From a hill, you can see some hills here. They're nice and rounded. It goes up. They're rounded, so it's a hill. Here is a forest. Maybe saw a little bit of cliff before in the surrounding area. And this is Eyam. So Eyam has things like forests, maybe a little bit of cliffs, lots and lots of hills surrounding it. You see lots and lots of greenery and forests over here. Very, very big hills, lots of fields, lots of things going on. Okay, so that was Eyam. So Eyam is not far from Sheffield, but it's quite different to Sheffield, isn't it? Like when we walk around where we live, we don't see really big forests, we don't see really big hills, we don't see cliffs in the side. We don't have a cliff next to school, do we? No, we might see little patches of trees. We might have like a park with quite a few trees in. But that's not really the same as a forest. A forest has lots and lots and lots of trees, and they're very crowded together. You can walk underneath them. The trees will be really, really tall. We don't really have that in Sheffield. So in Sheffield, you say we do have some trees. We don't really have big areas of lots of trees like Eyam does. So what kind of things do we see in Eyam? So we saw some forest. We see the forest back there. And we saw some hills. Here are some hills. You see that's raised up there. Here's the hill. Some hills over here. Some more forest over here. We also saw a bit of a cliff, but we can't see it in this picture. We saw a cliff in Eyam as well. So lots of different things that we saw in Eyam that maybe we wouldn't see in Sheffield. Maybe we would, maybe we wouldn't. It's not far from Sheffield. And those are the kinds of things we would see in Eyam. So it's quite a rural area, so not many people live there. It's quite countryside-ish, lots of grass, lots of fields, lots of trees, hills. You might go walking there, you might get really tired, you've got to walk up lots of hills and weave through all the different trees. And that is Eyam. The other town we're going to look at, the other place we're going to look at is Whitby. So Whitby is a bit further away from Sheffield. So Sheffield on our map is here, and Eyam was just here, but Whitby is all the way over there. And I know it doesn't look that far away, but it would take, if you got in your car and drove straight to Whitby, it would take about 2 hours. So see, for me to drive to work, to school, for me to drive from my house to school, takes about 15 minutes. So Whitby is a lot further than where I live from school to my house. So Whitby is quite far away. Let's have a watch of this video of Whitby and see what physical features we can see. Okay, so here is some footage of Whitby. What can we see? Oh, well, here we can see definitely some of the sea, because it is water that is coming onto the land. This is the sea, and as we look out, we can see the ocean. So the water coming into land is the sea, and as we look out, and there's lots and lots of water there, that is the ocean. So here we can see lots of the sea. I can see a beach down here. Oh, I can see some really steep cliffs over here. What can I see in the background? I thought I could see some hills in the background. I can see the ocean again. Looking out away from Whitby, I can see the ocean. I can see the sea coming into Whitby. Oh, beautiful. I know there's lots of other things going on, but we are just looking for those natural features. So here, it's really steep, it's really high. This is a cliff. We know what a cliff is. We won't be able to walk down it, would we? No, we'd end up sliding on our bums all the way down. So that is a cliff because it's super steep and super high. Can we see much else? Let's have a look. Well, this is a human feature. Look at that. We can see some grass and some fields. You can see the sea in the background still. What else can we see? Oh, so in the background, I can kind of see some hills. They're raised a little bit, but not really. Not like Eyam, because Eyam was really up and down. Like, it'd be really tiring to walk around there, whereas Whitby's quite flat. And I can see some trees, but I wouldn't really say I can see forests. I wouldn't really say there's forests. It's just a few trees here and there. In the background, there's lots of hills, but they're not really in Whitby. Whitby is more off the coast and the sea. This is all sea here that's coming in. It's the sea, it's the coast, it's the beaches, it's the cliffs. There's a bit of trees, but not really forest. Or maybe back here, it's quite foresty, isn't it? It's quite a lot of trees there. It's a small hill here, but not really like here. Not lots of hills. There's much more of the cliffs there and the sea that we can see. Fantastic. Okay. Okay, so some of the things we saw in Whitby. Well, we did see some hills, didn't we, in the background? So right behind, not near the coast, but as we go further up. So as we can see, this is kind of a hill because we can walk down it, but we're walking downhill. So we know it's a hill. It's a bit of a hill here. We can see things like the coast. We can see that this is the coast. I can see the sea, I can see the cliffs, I can see the beach. All together, that makes the coast. I can see the coast. So I know Whitby is at the coast. So I can see some hills. I can see the coast. I can see a bit of beach down here. I can see a bit of beach that you go walk along, dip your toes in the sea as you're walking along it. I can definitely see some cliffs all the way over here. There's really, really steep, really, really high cliffs. You can't walk down them. You'd end up falling on your bum. I can see the sea, see lots of sea. And as we looked out from Whitby, we looked away from Whitby towards the sea, we could see the ocean in the background, couldn't we? So lots of different things that we could see in Whitby. And Whitby was quite different to Eyam, wasn't it? So your job for today is I would like you to label these two pictures. There's one here and there's one here. And I would like to label what different features you can see in these pictures that you might see when you went to these towns, and remember what the names of our two towns were. So let's just recap at the two towns we looked at today. We have looked at Eyam, and Eyam was quite countryside. It was quite close to Sheffield. There's lots of forests and hills. There was some cliffs, wasn't there? We saw some cliffs. We saw lots of fields and grass. And then the other place we looked at was Whitby. And Whitby was very coastal. We saw cliffs and beaches and the sea. We saw a little bit of hills. We saw a little bit of forest, but mainly it was a coastal area. And it was Whitby. So Whitby and Eyam are your two places. I would like you to label up these two pictures, and you can send in your work for us to have a look at. That would be fantastic. And I will see you for some more geography on Monday after today. Okay, year one? Brilliant. See you later. Bye.